There is a lot of outrage from citizens in New Jersey who are concerned about proposed gun ban on magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. People there are concerned that they could potentially be turned into criminals overnight. This will be more than 1 million law-abiding, tax-paying citizens that this law could affect. Now, this story, a gun range owner testified before New Jersey lawmakers against this proposed ban on the magazines. Anthony P. Calandro, he's also the co-host for Gun for Hire Radio. He basically told these New Jersey officials that you can write these laws against us tax-paying, law-abiding citizens, but we're not going to follow them. And he called the lawmakers' attention to Connecticut and said 1 million gun owners in New Jersey are also going to say, like our brothers and sisters in the North, that we will not comply. And I can tell you here and now, I will not comply. And that sentiment is being echoed by their neighbors in Rhode Island. People there are also concerned that a proposed gun ban is going to turn them into criminals as well. So, of course, they were having a hearing there, and this is what their state senator, their representative, had to say to his constituents, including our own correspondent, Dan Bidondi.
How do these gun laws take the guns from criminals?
In one mouth, and you think you have two mouths in one ear.
I got 3 mouths, actually.
You got it confused.
No answers, of course.
The majority is outside. Numbers.
Yeah, the Second Amendment shall not be infringed. You people need to understand that. Yeah.
Go f yourself.
Good comment, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Majority's outside.
Go f yourself.
Good comment, sir.
You stay classy, State Senator Miller. So what were you asking them that they responded to you in that way?
Well, basically just asking, how does gun control take guns out of the arms and hands of criminals? And that question they could not answer. And they give you, softball questions, basically circular reasoning questions, answers, but never address the situation. How does gun control take the guns away from criminals? They can't answer that, so they snarl at you. And when I expressed about the Second Amendment shall not be infringed, I got told blatantly, go F myself.
Yeah, exactly. And these are the elected representatives there.
Oh, yeah, and these are people supposed to support the people. These are people supposed to be on a sworn oath on the Constitution to accept their office.
Exactly, to uphold the Constitution. I think he said after that little altercation that he believes in the First and Second Amendment. Well, part of the Second Amendment is it shall not be infringed, which you reminded him of that, so.
And I heard that today during an interview that he said he's for the Second Amendment. But the thing is, if you're for the Second Amendment, why are you supporting these draconian gun bills? There's several of them here in Rhode Island, which we believe is going to get shut down again. We had a major victory here in Rhode Island last year about this time, and now we're going to do it again. But these bills are draconian. And if he supports the Second Amendment, he should be standing against this, regardless of what party he's in.
Exactly, and I heard someone mentioning there that the majority was on the outside with you. How many people were at that hearing?
Oh, that was my cameraman, Kevin LaPrade. He's the cameraman that when we meet to Boston during last year. Basically, because they were saying, what the speakers were saying, we're the majority, and they kept bragging about it, but it was about 30 to 40 of them versus over 500 patriots outside the steps of the State House. And that was only, people that couldn't make it there. There was, could have been thousands of pro-Second Amendment supporters there. But, they had work. It was a work business day. And again, it was 30 to 40 of them compared to over 500 of us.
Yeah, and this is obviously something that's really important to you. You are not afraid. You're definitely a true patriot. And then here, these guys have the audacity to, what did they think? That your little conspiracy website wasn't going to go viral?
Oh, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because Josh Miller, he used that in his defense today to try to justify why he swore. He apologized for swearing, but he tried to demonize me to say Bidondi belongs to conspiracy websites and news media, is referring to Infowars.com and TruthRadioshow.com, and basically trying to demonize me from on every other end except for the point about the Second Amendment.
Exactly. It's basically what he's saying is that we can't depend on him to be able to control himself and act in a professional way. And clearly, we can't depend on him to uphold the Constitution as well because he's there trying to make laws against it. And then insulting you, the citizen, and that the exact attitude he'd have toward the rest of the constituents there in Rhode Island. So what was the hearing about there that day?
The hearing was to address several gun bills that are being presented by the same representative, Joseph Almeida. They're proposing several gun bills, and with these gun bills, they limit high-capacity magazines to certain firearms, and they even get to the detail of what kind of firearm it is, and it's most firearms that people own generally.
Right, exactly. They kind of make it very generalized, which how many residents is that going to affect? Basically turn into a criminal overnight?
Well over 100,000. I mean, Rhode Island's a very strong Second Amendment state.
And so you're making quite a name for yourself there. I guess you're getting kicked out of city council meetings and all kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, because they can't take the real questions. When I brought up the fact that Adam Lanza passed 6 schools on his way to Sandy Hook, why did he choose that school? Because, one, it was a gun-free zone. And second of all, most of all, he was, like the other shooters, he was doped up on psychotropic drugs. Right then and there, the Madam Speaker jumps up and starts screaming at me to get out. And, you know, she's for the bills. So, of course, she didn't want that information getting out. So, you know, she tells me to get out.
Right. They're so afraid to address the root of the issues. It's much like the pharmaceuticals themselves. They don't address the root of the issue. It's just there to cover up the symptoms. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. But like you pointed out, it's not going to actually take the guns out of the hands of the criminals. It'll be out of the law-abiding citizens' hands.
Oh, absolutely. And what they do is I was listening to the hearings because I was there for hours waiting for my turn to testify. Everyone that was for these bills was exploiting the children at Sandy Hook to use it for their unconstitutional Second Amendment hating agenda. And I got mad. And I said, how dare people, in the video, how dare people exploit the children of Sandy Hook to push this agenda? You know, because it's sickening. Why should we have to give up our rights when a gun, if there was armed security at that school or one of the teachers had a gun, those kids would be alive and well today?
So what do you think Josh Miller was thinking when he thought that he'd be offending you and answering you in such a way? I guess he really did not understand the reach that Dan Bidondi has now that video's gone viral.
Well, they don't understand because, again, you get the mainstream media they hit the politicians with these prefabricated questions. In other words, the politicians know most of the time what they're going to be asked, and they have the perfect answers. But when a real reporter comes up to them with a real question, and this is not the question from me, but this is a question from all gun owners. They all ask the same thing. So it's like, all right, I'm going to use that question to ask these guys that. And they can't answer it. And they'll come up again with circular reasoning, but never addressing how gun control takes guns out of the hands of criminals. And they bring up the rate, 30,000+ people die a year from guns, but they don't express how most of them, over 95% of them, are due from criminals, not honest citizens, but criminals shooting people or cops shooting criminals. And there's a small percentage of gun accidents. But they bring up 30,000 people a year, and they exploit that to, you know, try to fit their agenda.
You're absolutely right. They are afraid of people asking them the tough questions, which is exactly what citizens and reporters, journalists, everyone needs to be doing, is asking the tough questions and finding out just why are they passing these draconian gun laws. What did you think about Miller's response, he said that you were intimidating and aggressive, and that you were intimidating elderly veterans, members of the clergy, and victims of violence?
Well, I basically asked them the same questions, and they didn't want to answer them. So I'm saying, hey, answer this, because you're up there speaking on how we should take guns away, how guns are bad. And one of the reverends, I got a video on my same YouTube channel, one of the reverends, now he was up there saying that killing's a sin, and it's against the 10 Commandments and so. But then again, he's pro-abortion, which is a total contradiction. But again, you had all these speakers up there who were for the gun, for the gun bills, but they contradict themselves in the long run. So when you ask them these real questions, they don't know how to answer you because, again, you're not mainstream media and you didn't give them the questions ahead of time so they could prepare for it. But the thing is, they don't like people like us. They don't like people like me, Alex Jones, you, Rob Dew, and everybody else there, because we ask the real questions. We give the real news. We're not Republican, Democrats. We tell it how it is, and that's what they fear. And like I tell everybody, the video camera is the best weapon against tyranny. Not a gun, which is good to have a gun, but in this type of journalism, a video camera is the best weapon against these tyrants because the video cameras don't lie.
Exactly, and that's why they're trying to create all these laws now and say, well, you're not a journalist, so you're not protected, and you can go to prison, or even arresting citizens for filming police, because they know it is the ultimate defense against tyranny. Absolutely.
No, if you're not a A&P journalist, okay, you're not a reporter, according to these people here. And the thing is, A&P, yeah, they give us some good news and all that, but we know there's some good reporters that work for them. But again, they get censored through their editors and everything else. But you know, people in the alternative media, we're far more better reporters. I mean, I'm not gloating about myself, but we're far better more reporters because we tell the truth. We ask hardball questions. We tell it like it is, and people don't like that. You know, well, the politicians don't anyway. But if you see the support we have, if you go to Josh Miller's Facebook and his websites and everything else, you see more people are basically telling him to resign, that he's a criminal against the Constitution. We're getting overwhelming support, not just here in Rhode Island, but all over the country.
Yeah, and that's what I love is that I mean, the look on his face when he answered you, I don't think he had any idea what he was getting himself into. No. We have patriots that love America and that hate tyranny and that will stand up against that. He had no idea. Anything else you want to say to Josh Miller or anyone out there?
Oh, yeah, Josh Miller, Gordon Fox, which he's now in the investigation by the FBI. He's another senator. And all you people around, not just Rhode Island, but all over the country, every politician out there. There's a thing called the Constitution of the United States, the Second Amendment. And we as Americans, we do not bow to tyranny. You know, back in 1776, we fought against the British. Right here in Rhode Island, we were the first state to declare our independence against the British because they wanted to impose gun laws. And we'll do it again against this tyrannical government if we have to do that. But the thing is, we're promoting a peaceful revolution. Again, the video camera is the most powerful weapon. We're not encouraging people to go out and shoot anybody. We are telling people to get out there with the video cameras, confront these politicians, make them be held accountable for all their actions.
Exactly. Shoot them with your video. Well,
absolutely.
Dan, thank you so much for everything you're doing. Once again, making waves in the mainstream media. We really appreciate everything you're doing for us here at InfoWars and for America, for freedom.
And thank you, Leanne. And everybody, please support the InfoWars. I'll go to InfoWarsShop.com. We got the water filters. We got all the cool T-shirts and everything. And again, support the InfoWars because your support, folks, helps fund the operation to bring more real journalism to the public.
We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
It's not about keeping guns out of the hands of law-abiding Americans, and I'm sick and tired of people lying to the American people.
We're not proposing a gun registration system. We're proposing background checks for criminals.
No one's taking away all the guns.
Everyone will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
I'd love to see that. In uniform.
You've heard it here. I'm on television, so everybody knows it. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in people's lawful right to bear arms. I will not take your shotgun away. I will not take your rifle away. I won't take your handgun away.
Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in.